Hi, I'm Alden of Alden's Energy Healing, and thank you so much for being here on this day, this auspicious day of 11/11/2020. It's a portal to new beginnings, higher light, a higher vibration, and really stepping into your power and stepping into your authentic self. And as you know, if you're anywhere in the world, I'm here in the US. The election was last week, and Americans made their voices heard, and it's clear there is still a shadow side to America that's holding on to racism and bigotry and hatred, and frankly, there's no other way to say it. If you don't like my views, you can unfollow me. And there's a side that is holding on to hope and healing, and my prayer for the world coming into this new era is that we continue to fight and we continue to stand up for justice and equity for all, and that we also take time to, especially white people, this community of white people, we need to educate other white people who don't have the knowledge yet of how to be actively anti-racist and to care for people who have been subjugated for centuries. All right, I'm going to get off that soapbox now, but I just needed to preface it with that, and I feel like we've all had a collective exhale this week after the election announcement got made, but the work continues. So today for Alden's Energy Healing Cards and Crystals, I'm going to be pulling a card from the Lumen deck. And then I am also going to be giving a sound bath for opening and closing, and then I'll do a crystal prescription based off of what I think the energy of the week is, what the card is, and all of that. Thank you for joining. And Brady says, I love you so much. Yes, girl, wonderfully worded. Thank you, Brady. That means a lot to me that you reflected that back. Thank you. And I don't know about you, but when I was doing that sound bath, I just had this vision of like sound breaking through these dark bricks of like gunk and negative energy. So I'll just like take that away from you if you allow me. There you go. I took some negative energy off of you. If you want to receive that. And Noah here says, I've missed the last few. Something's calling me to this one today. Noah, it's so good to have you here. It is an honor. And today I will be pulling from the Threads of Fate Lumen edition. So that's exciting. And I'm just going to ask, what the energy of the week is, how we need to move through the world for our best and highest self to flourish. I have my little pendulum here. I'm just going to double check that this is the one. It is. Oh my gosh, this is the same one I got a few weeks ago. That's weird. I've been using this deck a lot too. All right, so this is literally from the last Cards and Crystals. Not the last one, but maybe a month and a half ago, I pulled this card, Share Wisdom, and it's all about grounding into your truth and then sharing the wisdom that you've learned. And I think it goes along with educating people who maybe haven't woken up yet, or educating people who are refusing to see the light. And if someone's refusing to see the light, maybe just they're a toxic person and like step away. but knowing that you have wisdom to share and your wisdom is worthy and you're a badass and you have knowledge, because that's important, to share your truth and share your wisdom. And I believe the crystal, because in this deck they actually have crystals that go along with every card, and I believe it's Lapis Lazuli. It is Lapis Lazuli. So this is the Lapis Lazuli that goes along with this particular card, and Lapis Lazuli is for the throat chakra, about sharing your truth, sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge, speaking your truth to power. And one thing I want to add to that, since this is a card I've already pulled, and you know what, maybe I'll also pull another card just so we can get another card for fun. But I've been really called to these lately. This is Healer's Gold, which is a mix of Pyrite and Hematite. And if you saw the cards and crystals from last week, I shared Hematite, which is the silver color, and the gold color is the Pyrite. But Pyrite and Hematite, it's nice because Pyrite's associated with the crown chakra and Hematite's associated with the root chakra. So the two of them together really help balance your energy, balance your chakra system, and create this energy like this. It helps reverse polarities if you have an issue with an energy imbalance, things like that. So what I've been doing for myself, I literally just meditated with these, with them in each palm, and let myself ground into the earth. And in energy healing sessions with my clients, distance healing sessions, I've been putting these two stones on my clients' palms and sending Reiki energy on top of them. And people have been like, my hands are so tingly, like I feel so grounded. So ground into the earth, align yourself before you share your truth. Yeah, because you need to be grounded in your authentic truth before you can start sharing it with other people. And that aligns with sharing your wisdom. Yes, and Noah and Brady, if you have any questions, let me know. You know, now that I've talked about this card, I feel like it's the right card for today. Sharing our truth, sharing our wisdom, sharing our authenticity, and then the Lapis Lazuli that goes along with the card, but also the Hematite, the grounding into the earth, the Pyrite, the opening up to your higher truth, and then grounding in that truth within the Healer's Gold that has Hematite and Pyrite in it. So I hope that was useful to you today. I send you so much love and light energy. I hope you can feel it through my hands right now. I opened up a little Reiki portal on this auspicious day of 11/11. I've also been thinking of doing some by proxy Reiki videos. What would you guys think of that? Let me know in the comments. So I have some beautiful questions happening. I'm excited. Brady asks, where do you find yourself most grounded? I find myself most grounded in nature, definitely. I grew up in New Hampshire, in the mountains of New Hampshire, and there's granite everywhere. Which is a rock, and like literally huge boulders from the Ice Age made out of granite just sitting on the earth. And I would grow up laying on a rock, and there's a rock on my family's property called Moon Rock, and it's a huge boulder of granite, and that's specifically in the entire universe is where I feel most grounded, just laying on a ginormous crystal. But since I live in the city, I've lived in New York City for the past 5 years, and now I'm in Boston area. It's harder to get into nature, so that's why I actually use grounding crystals, and that helps me feel the most grounded. So I usually start off every day with a 5-minute meditation where I hold a grounding crystal and ground into the earth. And then Noah asks, is it possible to have a moment of sharing your truth and authenticity with yourself if you've in a way not been truthful and honest with yourself? Okay, so yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, you can have a moment of truth and authenticity with yourself if you've been denying yourself or breaking your self-trust or breaking your authenticity to yourself. You'll feel it. You'll feel it in your gut, like right below your ribs. You'll feel like this icky feeling, and that's a moment, that's your intuition being like, hey, you're not being truthful with yourself. You need to be more truthful and authentic to you, because you're not because you're lying to yourself. And a lot of times also lying to yourself is born out of trauma that happened when you were a child. Like maybe you were told you were too sensitive, or maybe you were told you shouldn't act a certain way because it would be perceived by society as a thing. So you started acting a certain way to be more accepted in society, or you stopped being sensitive, or you stopped showing your sensitivity outer so that people wouldn't be like, oh, you're too sensitive, stop crying. These are examples from my life. And so that breaks your self-trust and your inner knowing. And one way to rebuild your self-trust and your inner knowing is listening to those gut pings of when you're not being authentic to yourself, and then being authentic to yourself. Like, you're an adult, you live by yourself, you can be authentic to yourself, and you can do those things that maybe in a family environment wasn't safe because someone would have reprimanded you for it, but now it is safe because you can be your authentic self and you can shine because you deserve to shine. So for me, when I'm not authentic to myself, it shows up as a gut pang, and if I don't listen to that gut pang, I will regret it. I've learned. So I started really listening to those gut pangs, like literally not someone asked me to like use my car for something I didn't really want them to use my car for, and I said no. And I ended up being really grateful that I said no, and I set that boundary, even though I used to be bad at setting boundaries. Because in the past I would have said yes just because I thought it was the right thing to do. Whereas now I'm like, no, that doesn't serve me. That's not healthy for me. And that's a great way to build your self-trust. I would recommend, Noah, looking at the holistic psychologist on Instagram and YouTube. She's amazing. She has a lot of stuff about self-trust and being authentic to yourself and healing your self-trust. So that's my offering to you, my ramble, and also look at the holistic psychologist. And Noah says, I felt it last night, which is interesting that it lined up so well. Yeah, and that matches that your intuition said you needed to be here today connecting in this. And so sharing your wisdom with yourself. And Brady says, this is a natural way of being as you get older these days. Oh, sorry. These days I've been finding myself cutting many people out of my life. And as you know, I have a tendency to be very positive almost all the time and open. Do you think that it's a natural way of being as you get older? Yes, I do. And also as you know yourself more, because I know myself included, you and I, Brady, we're both very open people, and I think that's why we emotionally connected so quickly when we first met. But sometimes within being so open and within being so trusting of everybody, we can then open ourselves to people who can hurt us. And not in a way that we should be like closed off and not trust anybody, but also knowing that, okay, this person who I gave the benefit of the doubt has shown me who they really are consistently, and they're a toxic person who isn't treating me well, isn't respecting my boundaries, is constantly doing psychopathic shit, and then thinking gifts instead of apologies and action shifts are going to make it better, then it's like, no, it's time to cut them out of your life. It's time to, again, share your wisdom with yourself and create your own sacred space to protect yourself, and only let people in who are for your highest good and who serve you. And sometimes those toxic people are there to teach you lessons, but it's also about knowing when the lesson is finished and it's time to be like, bye. And that's actually another thing that Hematite specifically is really great for. It's really great for protecting your energy. So this again is Healer's Gold. It has Hematite and Pyrite in it. Hematite is super fantastic for protecting your energy. I literally will do grounding and protection grids with just all Hematite encircling a client. And that's like my way of being like, okay, anyone who was trying to energy suck them can now no longer energy suck them. So I hope that was useful to you, Brady. I feel like you both have stayed on here so beautifully. Thank you. I'm going to close out with a sound bath. Feel free to comment any questions, DM any questions. I'm here for you, always. Thank you so much for being here. We will continue the fight and stay grounded and take care of our energy because we deserve it. All right, here we go. Ooh, all those blocks got transmuted. I felt them get cleared. That was amazing. And when we clear that energy, we ground into the earth and we transmute it. And my friend Noah says, I'd love to message you sometime soon and possibly have you create a beginner crystal set for me. Is this something you could help me with? Noah, yes, definitely message me. And anybody else watching this, they can also do that. Thank you everyone for joining. You can also always book a crystal healing with me or a Reiki healing with me through my website, aldengagnon.com, or via the link in my Instagram bio. I have sessions ranging from 15 minutes to an hour to 3 session packages, and everything I make is arranged so it's super accessible to people, even if you feel like, oh, I don't have the money to do it, because I want it to be accessible to people because everyone deserves healing. So thank you so much for listening. Have a blessed week. I will see you next Wednesday, November 18th at 3 p.m. Bye.